We play and call it work.
Hey folks, Janene from MiniWarGaming here with another how-to video for you. In this video, we're going to start painting this Kommander Sorscha model. We're going to do a slight variant to the traditional Khador scheme, and we're going to paint things to be a really dark gray, and we're just going to accent with that really bright red. As always, if you have suggestions for something you'd like to see in a future how-to video, please leave them down below in the comments. So we're going to start by base coating the cloak with a really dark gray, and then we're going to accent the fur trim to be a little bit lighter. Now this mini has been base coated with a quick spray of black paint, and our first color we're going to use is going to be Skavenblight Dinge. We're going to apply this first layer as a quick dry brush. This is just a fast way to build up the color while still leaving that dark black in the shadows. And I want to hit most of the cloaked area, and doing this dry brush is really going to help me mostly apply paint to the top of all of these folds, and that's the area that I want to really highlight. I want to exaggerate the movement in the fabric by making those folds really bright at the top and leaving them very dark in the shadows. After we finish with that dry brush, I'm going to take a little bit of Lamian Medium and mix that into my paint, and I'm going to smooth out this first initial layer. This is just going to build up the color, it's going to make it a little bit lighter, and I want to make sure that I'm applying this on the top of all the folds, but I'm leaving a little bit of the black in the very deepest shadows. After the Skavenblight Dinge, our next color is Mechanicus Standard Gray, and I'm going to continue applying this color on the tops of the folds. I'm just continuing to brighten them, and I'm really sculpting out the sharp wrinkles that are sculpted onto this swirling cape. I've also mixed Lamian Medium into this paint to help me blend, and I'm doing that with all of my colors from now on. And I'm just going to apply this over the Skavenblight Dinge. I'm probably covering about 60 to 70% of that color, really starting to concentrate my brighter colors towards the very top of each of these rounded fold areas. On the top of the folds, it's really easy to just kind of paint this in a sharp line. However, on the larger areas of cloth, I want to make sure that I really blend it and have a smooth transition of colors. So I can always go back with my darker color, mix a little bit of that into my paint, and use that to blend the transition area if I need to. And I really want to make sure that I spin this model around and make sure that I'm highlighting this all the way around as if the sun were shining directly above. Our next highlight is with the color Dawnstone, and this is going over about 50% of the Mechanicus Standard Gray color. At this point, my goal isn't necessarily to brighten the gray too much as it is to really exaggerate all of the folds in the cloth. So I'm not applying this too heavily, and again, I want to make sure that it's smoothly blended. So I've got Lamian Medium in my paint, and I'm using my previous color to blend that transition if I ever need to. For my last highlight, I want to do a little tint of a cool gray. So I'm going to take the color Fenrisian Gray. However, that's not much brighter than the Dawnstone. So I'm going to mix it into my Ceramite White, about 50-50. And I'm just applying this as a line highlight to really exaggerate the very sharpest parts of the cloth, the areas where there's really a sharp defined line in the skirt. Once I've got everything highlighted, I'm going to use a little bit of Drakenhof Nightshade, and I'm just going to apply this into the very darkest areas of the cloak, just to kind of give everything a slight blue tinge and make it look a little bit more shadowy, a little bit more dynamic than just having a pure neutral gray. This is going to turn it kind of into a cool gray. Once that Drakenhof Nightshade has dried, the last thing I want to do is paint the fur trim. I'm going to do this in a brighter gray color, so I'm going to start by base coating the whole trim in this rust gray color. After the rust gray has been applied, my next color is going to be Fenrisian Gray. And I'm just applying this on the top of each of these curves. I want to leave that darker color in the lower areas. Also, I'm kind of applying this with the side of my brush and dragging it just along the very top so that the paint doesn't necessarily get into all of those little recesses that I ensured I painted with the rust gray. I'm not dry brushing this, but I am trying to catch the top of each of these little fur pieces as much as I can. We want to add a final highlight of Ceramite White at the very top of the fur, and this is really just going to be a slight line highlight, and I'm painting it by just catching the very top of some of these tufts of fur, the very top area of the folds where the light would be hitting it the most. It's going to exaggerate the fur texture for one, and also, again, exaggerate the movement, which is really our main goal when painting this. Our final step is to take a little bit of Drakenhof Nightshade, and I'm just going to dab this into the very deepest part of the shadow on this trim, just to make sure it's a little bit darker and to exaggerate the shadows in the fur. I don't want to apply this over the whole fur trim, just doing a little bit of shadow on the very darkest parts of the folds. Alright, and after that final little bit of Drakenhof Nightshade has dried, the dark gray cloak on this Kommander Sorscha model is complete. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more how-to videos, I have another one where I'm going to paint the armor on this Kommander Sorscha model in the MiniWarGaming Vault in the link down below in the description. If you don't already have a Vault membership, go ahead and click the link. You can sign up for a 7-day free trial and get access to my video as well as hundreds of other videos in the MiniWarGaming Vault. So go ahead, click the link, start your free trial, and happy wargaming!